But here, what I want to really teach you is stuff that I've never taught before, because the market is something that I've not seen before. Now, I've been in real estate. I got my license in 2003. I got my broker license in 2008, and I've not seen a market quite like this. So one of the big things that my coaching students and many of the folks that follow me and even my agents, they've been asking like, Nolly, man, how can I move my inventory? So we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about some creative strategies, not only to get more listings in this market that we're in, but how to move those. Welcome to the Success with Listings podcast, where we help you get success in the real estate game the easy way. Now you can get off the roller coaster of feast and famine and out of the rat race of competing with every other agent in town. Hi, I'm Knolly Williams. I took over 1,000 listings during my first 10 years in the real estate game, and in this podcast, I show you how to have success with listings. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Oh, yeah. I got the chat open. And this is going to be a really, really good time that we have together. We're going to have a great webinar. Um, and you're going to learn a lot of things. This is material that I've never taught before. All right, so we're talking about today. Let me just make sure you guys can see. Yep, you guys can see what I'm seeing. How to list more homes and get them sold. So one of the big things that I teach you is how to list a lot of houses. But it doesn't do you any good, right, if you can't move your inventory. And so we're going to talk about how to do that today. I'm going to give you some very specific strategies. So this information is actually sponsored by Life Unlimited Ministries and through our legacy partners with the Inner Circle. It's called my Legacy Partner Inner Circle. And it's a 501c3, it's nonprofit. So basically, it allows, basically, the legacy members allow me to bring free training to you so you don't have to pay for it. Okay. That's my favorite four-letter word, free, Free. And so that's what this training is actually sponsored through our 501c3 nonprofit. So the first thing I want to teach you is that you want to focus on sellers that have to sell. What does that mean? Well, like I said, you should be taking notes. There's three kinds of sellers. There's sellers that want to sell. And those are, and you know those, right? Those are sellers like, let me try it. Let me try it out. Well, this is not the market to try it out. Okay. This is not a market for want to sell. Now, if they want to sell, I still list it, but this is really not a market for them. Okay. And then there's those that need to sell. I mean, Nolly, I need to sell, man. I really need to sell my house. Okay. Maybe they're in financial stress or whatever. But then there's also sellers that have to sell. So there's want to sell, need to sell, and have to sell. So you and I should be focusing on those that have to sell, okay? And I just want you to be putting that into your brain. Put that into your reticular activator. Put that into your subconscious mind. I want sellers that have to sell, that have to sell. That's highly motivated people, okay? That's who you should be working with. And who are they? Okay, so this is going to be people that are in divorce. By the way, divorce continues to be on the rise. The last statistic that I saw showed that almost 60% of marriages are ending in divorce. Okay, that's crazy, right? So, and a lot of times when there is a divorce, the real property has to be liquidated. Probate is another one, right over here. Probate. We'll talk a little bit about each of these. If you're, and most of you have probably done a lot of these. Okay, yeah. Paul says he's in the webinar now. So I'm monitoring this just to make sure. Paul, if you have a question for me, you just throw it into Viber. But Paul will also be throwing things into the chat as I mentioned them, just so we all stay on track. Let me see, what is this thing? Um, Okay, expired listings. That's another. If somebody's trying to sell right now, then and we're seeing a lot of expireds. I've already talked to you guys. You've maybe seen my trainings with Landvoice. If you go to landvoice.com/Nolly, don't go there now, okay? But write that down, landvoice.com/KNOLLY. You'll see they've actually got a special offer. I use Landvoice for all my expireds. But this is a market right now for expireds because things are taking longer to sell. Okay, that's just the way it is. That's the market we're in. And then also for sale by owners, FSBOs, for sale by owners. So we'll talk a little bit about each of these, but these are probably going to be, and by the way, if there are others, there are other people that absolutely have to sell. So if you think of any along the way, be sure that you put them in the chat, or if you're watching this after the fact, you go ahead and leave a comment, okay, below, because we're going to have this posted in our free community. So leave a comment below, like what sellers are you focusing on right now? Okay. But the overarching theme, just what I want you to get into your head, is that you want to focus on sellers that have to sell. Okay. And in every market, that's you've got sellers. Now, by the way, don't turn down any business that God's sending you. I mean, you already know that. But just don't. This is a good time to learn. This market is a good time for learning as well. And because I believe that the market's going to become really good again. Okay. It's going to become really good. And the cool thing about it is that those of us that are in the market right now and that continue to be visible, I'm going to show you that in a minute, in your social posts and social media, you continue to be visible. All the buyers that are on the fence, all the sellers that are on the fence, they're going to be starting to reach out to you. I think probably in the next 3 to 6 months, maybe. And as they start to come off the fence, you're going to have a boatload of business if you stack your cards correctly. Let me say it again. If you stack your cards correctly. So let's look into these. So divorce is really about helping those who, are going through that situation. And you got to approach this with empathy. Okay. It's speed and simplicity. And by the way, if I've done a lot of divorce sales and they are court ordered, it's a very interesting process because typically you'll have to explain the same thing to two different parties in two separate conversations. So it's almost double the amount of work. Okay. In terms of, I mean, I'm talking about logistically, but if you actually become more systematized, then you can actually truncate that down. I had a divorced couple one time where they were so at odds. Now there are some amicable divorces. Okay, there's not that many, but there are some that are amicable, and those are okay. Those are where they still are kind of like friends and stuff like that. But that's not common. In fact, I've got a couple right now that are divorced, and I'm working together selling 3 properties for them, and they're very, they have dinners together and stuff like that, so they're cordial. But in a lot of cases, they're not. And I had one lady, she says, I don't even want to see him on the same email. So, for example, if I was sending her an email, he could not even be CC'd on it. So, so it was like, it creates a little bit of extra work. But, you have to have empathy. It's got to be something that's in your wheelhouse. But these are court ordered. And so immediately, what happens is a lot of times as you're going into it, one party immediately doesn't trust you. You have to earn their trust. So typically, what will happen is I've got another divorced couple that I'm working with now that is they're out of state, okay, and I'm doing a short sale for them. So, but they're amicable, okay, they're amicable. Um, but again, it's a little bit more work. It's court ordered. It's a court order sale, and you'll have to. And basically, they have to sell. Like they don't have any choice. Okay, in the matter, unless one can buy out the other. But like I was saying, when you get into the situation, if let's say for example, the wife was referred to you and she wants to use you as the realtor, okay? But now the husband wasn't referred to you, but the wife chose you. So now the husband might be like, well, who is this? Because they're always going to be suspect of the other person's decisions, right? Don't take it personal. Okay, just don't take it personal. That's between them. Don't get involved in their stuff. You just are there to be professional and do a job that needs to get done. All right, let's keep moving. Let's go on to the next one, and that is probate. Now, probate is one of my favorite areas of practice. I've done tons and tons of probate. Even as I'm speaking to you, all the different probates that I've done are coming to mind, and I've made a lot of money. I mean, a crap ton of money doing probates. Okay, I love probates. It's probably one of my it might actually be my favorite area of expertise. Because really, have you ever thought about, I remember when I was in the music industry and we used to have this joke because I owned a record label and I was the CEO and, and all that. And we had kind of this running joke. My attorney was Willie Nelson's attorney. And we had this kind of a running joke like, man, this business would be so great if only we didn't have to deal with the artists. It was kind of a running joke. Okay, I was an artist myself, so it was tongue in cheek, if you will. Well, real estate, think about it. If you just didn't have to deal with clients, how much easier would this business be, right? And probate is one of those. I mean, really, you're not really dealing with clients because the person's dead. Okay, they're gone. And don't make no mistake about it, nobody gets out alive. Okay, we're all going to go down this road at one point. But the heirs typically they want to liquidate. They're like, Nolly, let's get it sold. I'm like, well, how much? Let's look at price, but just sell it. Just sell it. That's their thing. Now, obviously, a lot of times they want as much money as possible. And you can have very interesting probates. I had one where it had like 11 heirs. Okay. I had one where one of the heirs was in prison. I had one where one of the heirs was in Hong Kong. I mean, I've had all kind of probate deals. But usually there is one person who's like the executor of the estate that you're working with, one person. And that person is sort of the mediator or the go-between for everyone else. Okay. So it's not like you're dealing with all the heirs. You're typically just dealing with one, but they all more or less have to agree. And that one that you're dealing with has to be pretty strong or strong natured. Um, and so these are basically people that have to sell. Okay, so they got the property. They don't want it. Maybe they live in a different city, a different state. They just want it gone. Okay, so that's probate. And uh, I mean, if you once you get good at these, you basically can become the go-to person. And by the way, how do you get these? I mean, both divorce and probate comes through working with attorneys that understand that process. Okay, we'll talk a little bit more about that if you guys have questions around it. But I don't want you to get hung up on the how. I want you to understand the what. When you understand the what to the degree that you should understand it, the how doesn't matter. Let me say it again. When you understand the what to the degree that you should understand it, the how almost doesn't matter. It's almost like putting your goals together. Once you know what it is that you want, how you're going to get it is irrelevant because that's in the hands of God. Okay, now you have to have tactical strategies and implementation, but there are 100 different ways to do this. Okay, so don't get stuck on that. I'll share with you some, but I just want you to know what you should be focused on right now. Not necessarily the how of it, because you can figure out the how. You cuddle up with Chat GPT, boy, you'd have it within 60 minutes. You'll have a plan. Okay. All right. Expired listings. This is another area that I think is very, very important right now because a lot of people are trying to sell, they're not being successful, and you could be that person coming in with a fresh approach. Okay, a whole fresh approach. So, and a lot of the fresh approach that you're coming in with is what we're going to talk about here in the second part, which is how do you get this inventory moved? Okay, we'll talk about that. So expireds is really, really good. What I don't want you doing is I don't want you trying to figure this out on your own. That is combing through the MLS, figuring out who's expired, exporting the leads, importing them, trying to, has that person relisted, cross-referencing. Don't do any of that. Please don't. Okay. That's the reason why I use Landvoice. Okay. They do all of that for me. All I've got to do is log into my dashboard and boom, I'm just right there, working my expires. for the day. Okay. So expires is another great niche for right now for the market that we're in. And when I say the market we're in, what I'm saying is, you know, prices are still relatively high. Now we all know that the prices kind of went like that and then they came down, but they haven't really come down to what they were before in most markets. Okay. And so the prices are still relatively high compared to maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago. And interest rates are still relatively high in the minds of people. Historically, not so, but in the minds of people because they got so infected with the 2.9. I've got a client right now that I'm selling her house creatively. She's got a 2.25 interest rate on an FHA loan. I mean, that is insane. Okay. My first house I bought was 12% interest. Okay. So, so yeah, we people got kind of jaded with a false sense of reality. And I do believe that if the rates had never gone down that low, yeah, maybe the market wouldn't have done ballistic like it did, but also we wouldn't be in the market we're in now. But that's another story for another day. Okay. So expired listings and then of course FSBOs for sale by owners. If you can educate for sale by owners and educate them that you actually hiring you is not an expense, they're actually going to make more money statistically if they hire you. Okay, you do your research on this. You'll see that they're actually going to net more by hiring you, and they're going to save themselves from making some stupid decisions. I have a client right now that I just met with last week, and he bought a property, and he bought the property, put $20,000 down cash. And so I'm looking through his settlement statement. I don't see that 20,000 documented anywhere. Well, they never did document it. He just kind of paid the cash out, on the side type of deal. And if he had been working with me, that would have never happened. That's not how you do business. Anyway. So for sale by owners is another one. If at the very least, even if the for sale by owner never uses you, if you become the resource for sale by owners in your area, they're going to refer all of their friends. Because statistically, we know, according to NAR, only 9% of the population sell by owner. That means 91% of people choose to hire a professional like you. So you already know that 9 out of 10 of that for sale by owners friends are not crazy enough to attempt what they're doing. Okay. So if you become a friend to the FSBOs in your area and just help them for free, run a market analysis, help them, what they could do in exchange is all the buyers that come through their house that don't buy their house, they could refer those people to you and they can refer all of their friends and family to you after they get their home sold, even if they sell it on their own, because they already know most of their friends ain't crazy like that. They're not going to go through trying to sell their home on their own. They're going to be like, look, I did it on my own, but if you really want to get it sold, I would recommend Adrian because he helped me or she helped me during the deal. And that's who I would use if I was to hire an agent. Okay. Become top of mind. TOMA, top of mind awareness is what you want to have with these FSBOs. And you'll actually be able to utilize them to get a lot of referral business, even if they themselves don't hire you. Okay. Very important to understand that. So those are going to be your resources right there. Let me go back to this screen. I say that these four are really going to be ones that you should focus on. Um, Now you could keep adding to this. People that are like, for example, relocation, job relocation. I've got a guy that I'm closing with tomorrow. He's an attorney. He's buying a house right down about 30 minutes from me, actually in New Braunfels. Okay, I got New Braunfels in the house, right? And so he's we're closing tomorrow. The closing's at 10 a.m. And job relocation. He's moving to that area, and he's a lawyer. So that's another reason why people have to sell. Okay, so there's actually many, but these are really what I call my core four, the top four that I've come up with. Let me check the chat, see if there's any. Let me know if you guys have any questions around this because we're gonna go into some fun stuff here in a minute. Um, yeah, Tiffany's asking what source do I recommend for probate? Let me get back to you on that. There's a gal in our organization, in our group, and her name is Tony Patillo. She has a fire killer probate lead source, Tiffany. And if you're in the Tiffany, I think you're in our Successful Listings Academy. I'll post it there, so you'll get that. For, how do you help a FSBO steer clear of implied agency? Yeah, that's a tricky one. I mean, the best way to do that is just document it and say, look, I'm just put it in an email. Say, look, I'm not representing you, but I'm here to provide advice up to the extent of the law, up to what I can legally do without being your representative. Okay. So just throw it in an email and say, hey, this is a service that I provide to others. Why do I provide this service? Why? Because guess what? Who asked me this? It's Malcolm. Hey, Malcolm Merriman. Hey, my name is Malcolm Merriman, and I am the resource for all. Look, this is my territory. This is my area. So there can't be a home for sale in my area that I don't know about. And you happen to be one that I don't know about. So I got to get to know you. And I can help you, okay, for free. All right. So just because I want to be more involved, I'm the mayor of this area. As the mayor, I don't own every store or barbershop, but I damn sure know about them. Right. So yeah, you definitely want to avoid implied agency because that could be tricky. And you just do that in writing. Okay. Do you have a letter for asking absentee owners if they'd like to sell? Yeah, that's another, Julia. What I recommend is, um, just go if you want to do research like that, and because the cool thing about like for me, okay, absentee owners. Now if you're talking about people that are trying to sell already, I would use Land Voice for that because it tells you is it owner occupied or not. However, if you're talking about properties that are not yet on the market, there's a whole service for that as well. We won't get into it here, but a friend of mine had told me about a really good service for finding, vacant properties if that's the question. Now, as far as what to say, I would craft how you say it to your personality profile. Okay. Be sure that all your lead generation is done according to your personality profile. So know thyself. You have to understand who you are. And you take the disc profile test. We've got it for free in the academy. And then you understand, okay, this is my personality profile. And then you teach GPT who you are, how you show up, what your disc is, tell it, hey, this is my disc. Like my GPT, I've trained it it's like a show dog, okay? Like it knows everything about me. The 9 books that I've written are all uploaded there, all like a lot of my talks, everything. So it knows how to talk like me. It knows my disc profile. So it will actually create a letter for me that would be different than the letter it might create for you if you have a different profile than mine. So yeah, use GPT to create your letters. That's what I do. Um, Okay. Yeah. Bennett said he would like the contact as well. Yeah, for probate. I'll make sure that we post that. And I might even reach out to Tony while we're on here. I don't think she's on the call today. Um, okay, probate. How do I Ronaldo's asking, how can I do a probate listing presentation? And do I need 2 CMAs? One dated from the time of the deceased and one present. No, 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 no. You don't need that. No, all you need, so probate basically is once that property goes through the probate process through the court system, and then the judge says, hey, we're ready to go ahead and sell, then you would be the agent, say, selected to sell it, to put it on the market. And then all you're doing is, and sometimes the family might want to interview more than one agent, but if you really stand out, if you're using all the tools that Uncle Nolly teaches you how to use, I've got all that stuff in the academy, you're going to get it. You're absolutely going to be the winner of that. And then you're just going to do a CMA just like you would do, just like you would list any other seller at that point. Okay. The only thing is you're not dealing with the former owner. Obviously, you're dealing with the executor of the estate at that point. Okay. So let me just show you guys because I think this is let me see. So there's a lot of stuff that I use, and I'm just going to show you. I hadn't planned on doing this, but and this is very important that you have this. So some of you guys already have my book, Consider It Sold. I actually license it, and your sponsors on the back of the book, they pay the entire cost, right? So they pay the cost of the license. So, you create your own version of it with your cover, with your picture on it, right? And this is great for these trades like probate. You can actually on the back of your book, you can put the probate attorney that you're working with, or you could put or it'd be actually a family law attorney. For divorce, same thing, okay? And so you can customize the book however you want. But one of the things I do, when I go on my listings, I've got my Consider It Sold book, I've got my brochure, I've got my complete pre-listing package, all this stuff, and it just blows people away, right? And the whole purpose of it is for them to hire me, okay, to make the right decision, and that's to hire me, to hire you. That's the right decision, right? So we'll go into all this. I don't want to get sidetracked too much, but I think it was important to kind of show you guys that the whole key that is that you really want to wow these people in such a way where there's no chance that they're going to want to list with anybody else. Okay. And so for this part, I just wanted to show you what you should be focusing on. Now I want to show you, and I'm going to get back to Q&A. Don't worry about it. By the way, those of you that are curious, we're actually going from 10 to 11:30. Okay. 10 to 11:30 and Central Time. If you're on a different time zone, you can adjust. So we're going for 90 minutes, y'all. Okay. And this is you working in your business, not on, I mean, on your business, not in it. Let me say it again. This is you working on your business, not in your business. When you think about that labyrinth that you're going through and you're like, think about your business as a maze. You're going through it and you get to the end. You're like, okay, as you're going through that maze, you're like, should I go left or right? Okay, I don't know. Maybe I'll go right. Okay, maybe I'll go left this time. You might end up somewhere that takes you so far off track of where you should really be that it's ridiculous. Okay. But when you spend time to work on your business, like what we're doing right now, okay, it's like you getting into a drone and flying 50, 60, 70, 100 feet above the maze, above the labyrinth. Now all of a sudden you can see everything. Oh, I know I should go left here and right there and left here and right there and left. Why? Because you're working on your business, not in it. And a lot of times, I'm speaking to you because I see you working in your business where it's just like, okay, Uncle Nolly's here to help you work on your business, okay? So don't get too caught up in the weeds. You guys are asking beautiful questions and they'll all be answered. A lot of this stuff I'll post it into the academy, okay? If you're not a member, you should be. It's free. I'll show you how to become a member here, later. But the main point is you want to focus on those that have to sell right now. Now, later on, when the market turns, you can focus on anybody. Okay. And you'll be learning strategies on these monthly calls with me for other situations. But the scenario we're talking about right now is the one that it's the hand. We're working with the hand that we've been dealt. Okay. Well, thanks so much for tuning into this episode of the Success with Listings podcast. If you are serious about taking your real estate career to the highest heights, making more money and helping more clients while working less hours and spending more time with your family, be sure to get your copy of my free book, Triple My Listing, absolutely free at successwithlistings.com. Now, you want to be sure that you subscribe to the podcast and check out successwithlistings.com to get your copy of my free book. Hey, I'll see you on the next one.